Bed. Love.
Bed.
Bed.
Love. Beyond.
Bed, love, beyond. Bed, love, beyond.
Welcome to Bed Love Beyond, the podcast for the hopeful and the hater in us to discuss sex, love, relationships, and whatever's clever with like-minded people like you, who are also in limbo with love like us. I'm Jennifer, and...
And Miss April Speaks.
All right. And today is episode 128. How many red flags do you need to see before you wave your white flag? So we'll be talking about red flags in relationships and how many people see many of them and usually do nothing about them. Well, that's just my hypothesis. But now for some daily dish. I hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode. It was quite interesting. I was kind of just talking about I was talking about April yesterday. Like, I don't know why I was like so heated about the whole Ariana Grande thing with Aretha Franklin's funeral. Not that she was there, but like I think.
So do a little recap.
Okay.
Of what happened?
So Aretha Franklin died. Rest in peace. She's amazing. She's an icon. And they had a big hoopla funeral for her, which was well deserved. And I guess they had various people come. And I think Ariana Grande has an amazing voice. Mm-hmm. I really do believe she does. I don't think she did Natural Woman justice, but I couldn't do it, so whatever. Mm-hmm. That's just my personal opinion. So she came out and she wore this very short dress. She's a teenager. She's not a teenager. Stop it, Jennifer. She's in her 20s. She's young.
But it was a cocktail dress.
It was
basically.
a cocktail dress, right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to wear it to your prom.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you could. Who knows? Whatever. The dress was a little not appropriate for church. Mm-hmm. Not appropriate for a funeral. But that's neither here nor there at the moment. She came out. She sang. And I guess President Clinton, I still call him President Clinton, I don't know what else to call him. And I guess some of the other men who were behind her were on camera, like, what looked to be like oogling her or looking at her or, you know, it wasn't like he was licking his lips or like rubbing his crotch, but media kind of like blew up over it and was like, oh my God, he's so disgusting, you know, blah, 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 blah. So that happened. And then after she got done singing, or maybe it was in a different order, I don't know, she got up and she went to the podium where Pastor, or whatever his name was, I don't know, kind of like brought her to the podium, made kind of like a racial joke about her, about how he didn't know who she was, that he thought that she was like a menu item on the Taco Bell list, which was kind of like, not cool.
And she was like, me too. Me too.
And then he like puts his arm around her and
waist.
Like her waist at first, I think, but then like it's around her like under her arm, and like
because the snapshot I saw, it was on her waist, but high up on her waist.
Then like the other one is like around her like back, but like maybe because she's shorter than he was, but it was like kind of like almost like it looked like he was like definitely the fingertips were like at the backside of her boob. And I was like, and you can just tell by the look on her face that she was like visibly uncomfortable and like didn't know what to do and was kind of just like OMG, but play it cool. And I guess like what can you do in that situation? So
right, you don't want to cause a scene.
Right.
You don't want to embarrass yourself. You processing it like, am I taking this the wrong way? Is this a mistake?
Right.
What's going
so
on?
the media kind of like blew it up like one thing after another. Like first they were like, oh my God, how could they touch her like that? And this and that. And I totally agree. Like, how could he touch her like that? That's crazy. Like,
because why couldn't your hand go to her shoulder at least?
Right.
Yeah, why would it go there?
Somebody showed a picture of somebody with their arm around Aretha Franklin back in the day when she was younger, and like he knew to put his arm on the outside of her arm, not under her arm.
Right.
Like, that's awkward.
Like, why would that be where your hand goes? It's like,
right.
why is it automatic for your hand to go there and not on the shoulder?
Right.
Like, why is that not just a natural
I don't know. So that did make me uncomfortable. And I was totally like, I don't care what she's wearing. I don't care what happened. Like, she doesn't deserve to be touched like that. And I understand that, like, people kind of make innocent mistakes. But, like, I just feel like even now, like, the way the whole Me Too movement is, like, people should be a little bit more self-conscious about it. Like, even my trainer, like, I just started personal training. I don't know why, but I did. he'll be like, "Can I touch your knee?" Like he'll ask me like, "Can I move your knee because your posture is not right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, do what you need to do." Like,
different people are uncomfortable
don't
with
grab
different.
my ass, but like,
Right. But there's some people may not want their knee touched.
right. And so I appreciate him asking. But I just felt like I agreed with media and everyone that like she was touched inappropriately. But then people were like getting on the fact that like, "Oh my God, did you see the way that the guys were looking at her?" and blah 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 blah. And like,
Almost like, let's take this a step further.
right. And I'm just like,
yeah.
we can be mad at everything, I guess, but like, I'm gonna have like a really big problem in life if like you're allowed to dress sexy or provocative or whatever word you want to throw in there, but then people aren't allowed to look at you.
Right.
Like,
I mean,
I don't
it's
know.
some hypocrisy in there.
it just bothered me. I'm just like,
Like,
know,
no men shouldn't gawk, no men shouldn't stare, but men are gonna look. I mean, because
Right.
that's just a natural reaction to a woman in a sexy dress or sexy outfit.
right. And I think that like people kind of like forget that they, put up shots of them in like provocative clothing, or get up, go to the club on the weekend and like let some things hang out. Like, I've seen girls with like dental floss dresses going to the club. I'm like, that's not for you.
There's this
Because that doesn't even look comfortable.
right, and you wore it not for comfort.
Right.
So I mean, in that case, you will look uncomfortable.
Right.
It's a comedian. He does like skits like on Facebook. He has his own Facebook page. His skits go viral. People share them. His name is Tyrion. Is it Campbell? His first name is Tyrion, and he does like the Black Mama skits.
Okay.
And he got the robe on. You ever see him?
Okay, yeah, I think so.
So he did a little like Facebook. I call them selfie videos where the person's just talking to the camera. And he mentioned how he was like mentioning how he feels like some women who taking provocative pictures. Like he was like back in the day, like women would be like oh no, like I'm not going out with you, or like basically like you had to like really try hard
Right.
to like not even so much get like have sex with a girl, but like just to get her to go out on a date with you. Like you kind of had to pursue her,
Right.
and make her believe that you were worthy of her time and attention.
Right.
And he was like, now you just got your whole ass out on Instagram. I ain't even have to. Well, not himself, but he was like, guys don't even have to work for it anymore. You just
Right. You don't.
just putting it all out there, and it's like, oh, okay. All I had to do was like your picture,
Right.
and I'm good. And he was talking
Slide
about,
up in your DMs.
and he's like, in a bikini, and he threw in. He's like, a bikini is just a bra and panties.
Right.
And then this lady put, which I thought was a bit extreme. She's like, my daughter's 20 and she's never worn a bathing suit. I'm like, so she never been to the beach or a pool?
You live in a landlocked area?
And when she went to the beach and the pool, what she wore?
Oh,
And she was
man.
like, I've only wore a bathing suit only with a cover up on top of it. So you could have just put on a regular
Right.
summer dress. And like, I think that's a bit extreme. I think where the issue comes in, if people, like, I've seen a picture of a young lady posing in her bikini, but she was in her bedroom.
Right.
And to me, that just had it was in a different context than if she was on the beach and she took a picture in it. Because doing it in your bedroom just make it seem like you're doing it for attention.
Right.
Whereas if you were actually on the beach or at a pool,
You're just
and
like,
you
oh, I'm
took the
hanging out with
picture,
friends. Like, this is
right,
my
or I'm at the
environment.
pool looking cute in my bikini. But
Right.
you at the pool with the bikini on where you supposed to have it on.
Right.
Posing like in your bedroom mirror, I'm like, I don't know. That just looked like I just put this on for this picture. I ain't really going anywhere to swim.
Right.
Like that's a little suspect. But I mean, that's a bit extreme saying a woman can't take a picture in a bikini or a bathing suit at a beach or at a pool.
I just feel bad for men a little bit. Like, because like dating is not what it used to be now. Like, marriage rate is down, reproduction rate is down, and people's like ideas of things have like completely shifted. Like, I feel like we're the last generation who cares about like a traditional family or something like a traditional family or anything like that, and just like making women and men like against each other. Because listen, I don't think men should be disrespectful to women. I don't think men should like whistle or rub their genitals or anything like at women, you know. I just don't think like, like saying President Clinton looked like excited to see her, like he got all jolly when he saw her. She's an attractive woman. She's an adult, even though like she acts like a kid and looks like a kid, but she is an adult, you know. And I think a lot of it, like you said, we were talking about like had to do with his history with Monica Lewinsky and stuff like that. You know, some men are just sexually charged, but like he wasn't like sitting there licking his lips, and I mean the other guys too, like they weren't like sitting there like, I would like to tap that. I mean, maybe they were in their head, who the fuck knows, but I mean,
right, in their head, that's the
right,
that's the part that's appropriate.
Right,
you kept it in your head, or you whispered it, or that's what people do. If I'm sitting next to you somewhere and somebody all Idrisy and chocolatey walking,
right,
I'll be like, okay, you know,
right.
like, and then I'm not gonna be like, damn, sir, you look good. Damn, I like your ass. And nor am I gonna stare dead in his face.
Be like, wonder what that be like.
Right. Or nor am I gonna stare dead at his crotch or dead in his face and make him uncomfortable
right.
either. I'm just gonna kind of like give him a little side eye and keep going. Give you the side eye to make sure you see him, and we'll talk about him when he walks further away. Like,
but it happens.
That's what people do. Like, it's just like men. Men go to the club with muscle shirts and
I was watching
whatever they have on to make women
Insecure last week with I don't know what his name is on the show, but his name is Kendrick, the light skinned guy with the light eyes. I was like, I think he's on my Instagram.
He looks like, to me, the guy from How to Get Away with Murder.
He does, but I don't.
But they look. I don't know.
It might be. His name is Kendrick Sampson. He's on my Instagram. He's a model, but I guess he also does that stuff.
Oh, okay. I thought he's very handsome.
He really is.
Yeah.
I like his swag.
And Issa's about to get it popping if that little badass boy ain't knock on the door.
I know.
Like my mama said.
I was like, damn it. He's like, my mama said to wait here. I was like, what?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but that really just bothered me this weekend. Like, I don't like when some women get upset about things that are like natural chemical reactions, and some natural chemical reactions that you look for too when you do it up. Like,
or things that are never going to change.
Right.
Like, I feel like if some other prominent woman leader or politician or anything like that was sitting on the stage and she looked a man up and down, we probably wouldn't be hearing about it.
Right.
Or it would be funny.
Right.
Or, you know. So it's just like the woman from, I remember her from Triple X, that was at the forefront of the Me Too movement. She was dating Anthony Bourdain, and then come to find out she paid this young boy. And she was in pictures with him naked. She said nothing happened, but they paid the boy off. And she said it was Anthony Bourdain's suggestion to pay the boy off.
Damn.
To keep it quiet. And people she was like...
Is she saying that now that he's dead?
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
But yeah, people were saying like she kind of threw him under the bus, but she said it. When I first heard that, I didn't feel like she was throwing him under the bus. I feel like she said it in a way like he was trying to protect me. Like, it's not that I felt like maybe he felt like I don't believe what he's saying, but in order to protect you, protect your reputation,
right,
protect us, let's just give the kid the $380,000 and make it go away. It didn't seem like she was saying it, but then I can see where people was like, well, he's not here to give his side of it.
Right, of course
so
you're saying that now.
You should have just been like, he was paid off.
End of story.
He was paid off from my side. I paid him. Just say you paid him off.
Right.
You could have just said that. But I only seen her, I guess she an Italian actress. I've only seen her on Triple X, that movie with Vin Diesel. I've never seen, I'm pretty sure that was her. I don't know.
I read something about her and Rose McGowan. Or I read the title and didn't go into the article.
But because she had made, I don't know if it was like an international film festival or something, but she had made a big speech about, or was that at the Oscars? She was like, you all here sitting in the room and, you condoning it, and you've been condoning it for years, and it's time for it to stop. And she was in a picture with this kid laying in a bed, like you could tell she was topless. She didn't show her boobs in the selfie, but she was topless, and the kid was 17. So, but of course, she's saying nothing happened. She knew the kid from when she was 7. She played his mother in a movie.
Oh, creepy.
So it's very weird. And today also I watched an interview with Drew Dixon, who was an A&R at Def Jam, who accused Russell Simmons of rape, not sexual assault, straight up rape. Well, sexual assault also, because she said there was moments, there were times when she worked there that he would come in her office and close the door and push up against the wall.
Nah, see, that's so inappropriate. No.
And she said that it was to the point where she made sure she was never alone with him.
Damn.
And she was like, I came out of, her mother was the mayor of Washington, D.C. at one point. She said, I came out of Stanford. She was like, I wanted to make music. I wanted to make hip hop records. I was serious about it. She was like, she said, Leo Cohen was like, if you see me in the hall, go through the first open door and don't come nowhere near me because I don't want anything to do with Russell's tall, skinny bitches. That's what she said. Leo Cohen said. And she was like, Leo Cohen, if she even opened her mouth, he would shut her down. Damn. He didn't want to hear nothing. And she was like, Russell Simmons was her biggest advocate. He would be like, no, Leo, she knows music. She knows a hit when she hears it. She knows an artist when she hears one.
Damn.
You should really listen to what she has to say. She was like, what she called out? Oh, what did she call out? She said she was executive producer on the show soundtrack for the movie The Show. And then she said a couple things she called out. It's like, I told Russell it was high. I told him I heard it was high. It was going to be a hit. And she mentioned, how she was like, and like people would say like, oh, like you're his type or he has you around because of the way you look. But she was like, she was like, I considered myself attractive, but she was like, I didn't consider myself in the same league as the model type girls that he was dating. She was like, I walked around in jeans and Timbs. Like I didn't consider myself in the league of the supermodels, the tall, slim supermodels he was dating. She said, I didn't think of myself in that way. And then she led up to, when she was walking past his house from a bar, he did business out of some bar in the Bowery that was a half block from his house. And she always had to go there to like get him to approve things and whatever. And she was walking past his house to go to the ATM to catch a cab. And he said, oh, I got a CD upstairs I want you to hear. And she was like, she thought his assistant was upstairs because the assistant was always in his house. So when she went upstairs and realized the assistant wasn't there, she was like, you know what? I'm going to go,
Right.
And then he was like, oh, no, just go get the CD out of my CD player in my room. And, she went in the room trying to get the CD player. She said she turned around. He was butt naked. And she didn't go into detail, but she was like, from there, it was, I guess he just became violent with her, threw her down on the bed.
Damn.
And at first I wasn't sure, like, but hearing her, I believed that woman's story.
Damn.
She didn't hesitate. She didn't pause. She didn't skip nothing. It didn't sound like anything was missing.
Right.
It sounded like that shit. She told the story like it happened yesterday.
Because it probably sticks with you like that.
Right. And I just feel like when you lying, it be holes in your... It doesn't matter how practiced or rehearsed you are.
Right.
Or what public relations person or lawyer sit with you. When you lying, there are holes in your story. There are things missing. There's something that don't sound right. Something that doesn't feel right. So,
well, that's what they say. They say a lying man never tells the same story twice.
Yep. And I said, there's something about this lady's story. It just flowed right out of her. Like, it just had a natural ebb and flow right out of her. I'm like, this lady is not lying. I don't believe for 1 second.
Has Kimora Lee ever come forward and, like, backed Russell Simmons or no?
I feel like she did say something.
Like, in favor of him or no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I think she did.
Well, she also probably owes him her life.
Yeah, I think she
was kind of like nobody.
But she was, is it Touré? Is that his name? I think.
The writer?
Yeah, I think Touré, because he was like, I believe Drew Dixon. She's my friend, and I know her character and her personality. She wouldn't make this up. She wouldn't lie. He was on the radio once, but
well, you haven't heard shit from him since the allegations started coming out about him.
But he made a statement saying that none of this is true. I took a lie detector test saying that I never sexually assaulted anybody, and I never lied about assaulting anybody. And he's issued statements, but Touré also said that he mentioned her. And then I lost my thought. But he mentioned that he didn't think she would lie. Like he
Right.
knows her and she wouldn't lie.
Was she the original girl who said something, or there has been other people?
I think she was the first.
Okay.
And then the I think she was. But oh yeah, Teray mentioned how it was like something that was seen but not talked about, that he was walking around the Hamptons with Kimora when she was 15.
Mm.
Yep. And he was like, everybody knew she was underage. Yeah.
April's got a little sidekick with her today, so I'm not laughing at April.
This little guy, he's waking up.
Oh,
We're recording the podcast. Are you gonna be our special guest?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's your name?
See?
He's so cute. He's getting first-hand knowledge here.
Yeah, he said too that he was walking around the Hamptons with her when she was 15, 16 years old.
Wow.
So I guess he's like, this wasn't, and I believe Amanda Seales too, when she said, he looked at her like, have we ever fucked? No? Oh, okay. Like, what?
I really wish I still liked Amanda Seales. I just Insecure like
She's
ruined it
so
for me.
different from that Insecure character.
I
She's like
hope
the
so.
complete opposite.
Because you know what? I remember, and I wish I can find it on YouTube somewhere. She used to be called Amanda Diva, and I went
Right.
to New Eurekan one night because we were at New Eurekan, and somebody at New Eurekan was talking about how they first saw this person here, they first saw this person here, and like how New Eurekan is like a staple in New York City for like poetry and like people performing their art and stuff.
Because that's where she in New Eurekan or Blue Moon in She's Gotta Have It, when she was sitting at the bar writing
I didn't
or
see
drawing. She was sketching.
that. Might have been, if the bar was on the right hand side, it was New Eurekan.
I think she might have been in Blue Moon, because was that the name of it, where they start snapping?
That's New Eurekan. With like
But there's a place called something Moon, and
Blue Note, the Blue Note Cafe.
maybe that's it, in Brooklyn, in Fort Greene.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's someplace in Fort Greene, because you ever see Brooklyn Bohème?
No, yes. I
Bohemia?
remember we were really talking about that one.
Nelson George did that.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
went in there. It's in that was all about Fort Greene,
No,
basically.
yeah, New Eurekan's in the Lower East Side.
Oh, okay.
Alphabet
And
City.
the guy basically said they started the snapping because the people that live upstairs would complain about all the noise the clapping made,
Really?
and they started snapping. That's what he said. That's where that came from.
Huh.
Yeah. I forgot the name of it. I thought it had Moon in it. I guess we'll have to look that up.
I remember watching the documentary either at your house or on the phone with you or something. So I have to look it up too. No, but I remember I saw her there and she did this poem called My Block, and it was so dope. Like it just like embodied like being in your 20s and like hanging out outside with your friends and about the guys on the block and this and that. And it was so awesome. And I was like in awe of her. And now she's on Insecure. And I'm like, you're a stuck up bitch.
Well, look at her Instagram.
I know.
Because she's different on her.
I'll
She's
find
very blunt and but she's very likable. Like she's like real when she watch her Breakfast Club interviews. She's
I'll
very
have to see
likable.
that. He don't like her either. He told me. He's so adorable. So today, is there any other current events?
No, any daily dish from you?
Daddy, 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 daddy.
Yeah, you coming back? Yeah.
Come back.
Whatchamacallit? Not really. I'm going to the fertility clinic again on Friday just to kind of get like a final say-so of what the deal is.
Basically, like they'll give you like a
They'll, like, tell
overall
me,
of
like-
your suggestion,
Yeah, like tell me like
recommendations.
if I could take the hormones, if it'll make a difference, and then like whatever. But I told my boyfriend, I'm like, if they say yes, like we have to do this now. So, you know, I don't know what you want to do with your life.
Right.
Like,
or your sperm, but
or your sperm. My mom's like, just get a sperm, and it's like if he doesn't want to get married, forget it. I'm like, what? Like, if I'm looking for a sperm donor without marriage, I don't know if I want his. Like, I don't know. Like, can I pick higher on the tree? I don't know. So, like, whatchamacallit? So we're gonna find out and see what they say. But I kind of told them like, if they say no, it's no. and like then we have
Right.
to seriously look into adoption.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if they say yes, then I'm like, I have to go through the whole process of like thinking about a surrogate and stuff like that. And I don't know anybody unless you want like 20 grand to carry another baby.
I don't know.
You're like, maybe.
Yeah.
Like 20 grand sounds good. But my mom's like, what about April? She did a good job with Kai. I'm like, it's like, I don't know if April wants to do that again. Someone gave Kai a live, unlive mic, and he's out of control now. So I don't know. We'll see what they say. Like,
Right.
if not, I mean, then we'll look into the adoption thing. But I asked him about marriage again. I'm like, because I know he wants to like get married before children come into the picture. He's just being so silly now. 20 minutes ago, you didn't want to talk to nobody. This is the joy of children.
Yes.
He's so cute, though. He's so good. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, we'll see what they say, and like if it's no, it's no. If it's yes, then
Right.
I have to give myself shots. As I said to him, I was like, I'm so fucked up sometimes. I said a lot of fucked up things to him last week.
Mhm.
One, I said my dog's like kind of dying. I don't know. She doesn't look good. She's on all this medication. But I said to him, I was like, because when we first met, he was like, oh, if you get married, do you want Geisha to be like in your wedding? And I was like, if she makes it to then. So then I was
Right.
like all upset, and I was like, and Geisha's not even going to be in my wedding now because you're taking forever. He's like, you're really fucked up. I was like, I know. I was like, I was really mean. I was like, it's not as mean as what I have in my head, but I bit my tongue for the rest. And then, what else did I say to him? I forget what other horrible thing I said to him. I forget. It'll come to me. But I said something else kind of like off color, and it was just like, oh, well, whatever. I was just like, this is my like way. It's my defense mechanism of saying like, hurry the fuck up.
Right.
So, he was like talking about how he's not like really ready. He's like thinking about it, but he's not like 100% ready. And he's just like, oh, I have to kind of talk to my mom about the reasons why I'm upset. So he's gonna talk to his mom. We'll see.
Sorry.
So what if like to see his mom's advice?
I guess
or-
I feel like he's like kind of like going to therapy. He'll kill me for saying that, but whatever. But so I guess his therapist told him to like talk to his mom about like his fears about how like everyone in his family has failed at marriage, and he's
okay.
afraid he will too.
Uh-huh.
And I keep telling him like he's not them and he's not like that situation, and I think maybe he needs his mom to tell him that he's not them.
Right.
Like maybe she can say from her mother's perspective like why she feels he's different from the other ones. And he is different from like his siblings, and we all are different from our siblings. So
And our parents.
and
We're not
our
our
parents.
parents.
Yeah. But man, let me tell you, studying for the LCSW, like it's so crazy, like how much like all your developmental milestones and stuff, like and like your parents like parenting style, like how it like influences you as like a person.
Right.
And like it's so crazy. I'm just like, damn. So like people who are like non-involved parents, like you're breeding sociopaths. Like
Right. I'm very like I tend to be very conscious of that all the time. Like if I don't I try not to yell or like sometimes as a parent you're gonna raise your voice. The kid's not listening and they're out of control, you're gonna raise your voice. But sometimes I guess like I just try to stay conscious of that. Like there's things that there's things that I just try to be conscious of, like this thing. Like I try to remember the things I kind of carried with me into adulthood,
right.
and it's like I don't want him to carry those things with him. Yeah, I don't want him to carry those things with him into adulthood. So sometimes I try to be like very conscious of how I speak to him and not yelling at him and.
Right. Like they're saying like what I was reading is like there's like the authoritarian parent is like the parent who says the answer is no and I'm not telling you why. And then there's like the authoritative parent, which is like
Right.
the best parent, which is like, you can't do this, but I'm going to tell you why you can't do it, and I'm going to give you an alternative.
Right.
Like, and then there's like the parents that just like say, you know, I'm not like, you're going to stay with a nanny all day, and then when I come home from work, I don't want to see you.
Right.
Like, and
I
those
don't
are
know
those,
how to communicate with you.
those are the
or talk
parents
to
that are
you
breeding
or-
sociopaths.
Right. I
Like,
don't know how to communicate with you.
I don't know how to communicate
I'm
with
not
you.
going to try to figure out how or learn or
Right.
spend time getting to know you. And I think parents, too, who like, I think it's a bit much when you too strict.
Right.
Because I feel like that just leads to
Anal retentive children who
or
are like
people
insane.
who, as soon as they get out of the nest, they gone.
Oh yeah.
Like, they flying.
And crashing because they don't really know what to do. So, and these are the red flags
Right.
that we were really trying to talk about today after 30 minutes.
Right.
So, I wanted to talk about red flags because I've been listening to some people vent about their problems, and I kind of just feel like we've had these conversations before, one, and like these flags keep popping up periodically, and like I don't know when it becomes enough for somebody. Like, I know that as soon as Nick's meowed, sorry, Brooklyn, now you know his name, doesn't matter, whatever.
And that's still not his real name.
That's not his real name,
Yeah.
right? It's not his government. As soon as he meowed, I should have been like,
That is the Canadian red flag.
I should have been like, Apparently, as soon as April met him, she saw a red flag because he didn't like open his mouth to say hi. He grunted or something.
And did a little wave.
And did a little
I
wave.
was like, what?
People were like, what's wrong with them? But there are red flags, and there was a lot of red flags in the relationships. And like, you know, I think there's a difference of like when there's a red flag and there's no like fix for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I was telling you yesterday, I texted my boyfriend and he got all bent out of shape that he thought I was like tracking him or something. I don't know if he has PTSD from a last relationship. I really don't know what that was about. He's apologized like profusely since then. Like he sent me a text this morning like, I'm really sorry I overreacted. And I'm like, you did overreact because I was just really just checking to see if you were okay. Like, and then maybe it's part of my PTSD from last relationships, like when the boyfriend's like missing for like a half hour more than he should be. I'm like, oh my God, wait, what happened? Like, I honestly didn't think he was cheating or anything like that. I was just like, oh my God, I hope he didn't get into a car accident. Like, I always think something bad's going to happen in my life. I just have this thing. I don't know what's wrong with me. But, like, if, like, he kind of, like, flipped out about it at first, and, like, that would have been a red flag for me, like, in the beginning. But he doesn't always do that. I don't know if he was having, like, an off day or something. But, like, he's since apologized for it, and we've discussed it, and you understand what he did wrong. But, like, if there was, like, all these red flags, I'd be like, this is looking kind of dangerous. I don't know if this is a good idea. Like, what are some red flags you've had in relationships that are in dating or that you just see?
Well, a big thing for me is when you tell me you coming and you don't show up.
Oh, I hate that.
Yeah. And you hit me up like maybe like the next day or hours after you're supposed to be there with some explanation that's not good enough
Right.
for why you didn't show up, or why didn't you just call and say I can't make it?
Right. Or text or
Like, and to me, that just shows so much inconsideration and like you're not. What's the other word? You inconsiderate and you're not reliable.
right.
Like you can't even show up when you say you're gonna show up. Why would you do anything else you say you're gonna do? Like your word is not good enough.
Especially in the beginning. Like, I know
Right.
people bring their representative, but at least let your representative be respectful. Like,
Right. Or people who like I think another red flag is guys who take too long to respond, or they only call you on certain days or during certain hours. Like, I mean, if you can't get a hold of somebody after 7, 8, 9 o'clock, they probably home with their family or their wife or their husband.
I was talking to my friend
or
about
her
that.
husband. Yeah.
My friend, like, actually, Heather was on the show before. She dated a married guy. She came on that episode. And she was telling me, she's like, oh, our mutual friend. She's like, when I was telling her about him, I used to tell her, like, I can't call him after 9. Like, I can never get a hold of him after 9. And she's like, the first thing she said to me was, like, he may be married. And she's like, I didn't even think about that. She's like, I thought maybe a girlfriend, but I never thought married. And I was like, I guess back then, I don't know if I would have thought that either. But, like, it obviously is, like, a definite red flag. Like, why can't I get you on the phone? Unless you're at work.
Right.
Like, if we're dating and we're, like, trying to build something, like, why can't I get you on the phone, period?
Right. Or after only certain hours or certain days or, yeah.
I put it on Facebook and on our Facebook page, on the Bed Love Beyond page, and Sam, superfan Sam, she said, being sketchy with their phone, saying I love you too quickly, gut instinct, long periods of silence for no reasonable cause, they have no social media, and WhatsApp last seen is regularly in the early hours, and then she wrote in quotes, job dependent. So, and I was like dying at the WhatsApp thing.
Yeah.
And she was like experienced because she married a guy in Jamaica, and I guess like that's how they communicated when she was in England and he was in Jamaica. And I guess like yeah,
So she went to Jamaica, married him.
when she said that, I think if you have to listen to her episode, she was they were doing like a work study type thing somewhere in like somewhere in America, and like people from
okay.
other countries came and worked there. And I think he was from Jamaica, she was from England, and like they fell in love, and like the only way that he can like come to England and stay is if they got married after a while.
Oh, okay.
So she got like the marriage visa and stuff, and I guess they were married for a while and then it all fell apart. You have to listen to the episode. Pretty interesting. And then she went to Jamaica with her mom to go meet him and stuff like that. Whole big thing. So
Wow.
I was like, those accents together must be like bananas. Like English people speaking speaking straight up patois, like nobody understands nothing.
Nothing is going on. Yep.
But I think those are definitely red flags. I remember when I was dating the dude who threw water on me. He used to I don't know. He gave me his like login to his T-Mobile once because he wanted me to help him with his bill, and like he had all these texts going out at like 4 a.m. Who the fuck you texting at 4 a.m? Like,
right. And why?
And what, you talking to your boys at 4 a.m?
Yeah, come
really?
on.
NBA 2K stats? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, those are definite red flags. Like, and I just feel like people see them and like sometimes overlook them. That's the problem.
I was dating this guy once, and I happened to see a glimpse. We were like sitting next to each other, like waiting for food or something, like at the Chinese restaurant. And he worked at the Honda dealership, and he was like a service manager. And and that's where I met him. That's where I met him. And
little man has demands.
And I happened to catch a glimpse of his phone contacts. He was like going through his contacts list. And like, these are just random names. There was female names there with their car next to it. Like Amanda Red Civic. Like Jennifer, Silver Accord.
What?
Yeah. And that's when I stepped back. I was like, we could just be cool. I mean, we weren't in a relationship, but we were like hanging out. And, that's when I was like, we could just be cool. I'm good. And he saw me when I glanced and saw it. And at that point, that's when I backed off. I was like, and then I met somebody else who actually worked there, who was like he told the story that he got fired because a customer got in his face and started yelling at him, and he yelled back, and he got fired. A salesman there told me that he got A salesman there told me part of the reason he got fired was because they felt like instead of focusing on his job, he was too busy trying to holler at women.
Oh.
So that was part of it also. So I'm like, yeah, I could believe that because I saw all their names in the damn phone.
Damn.
Yep.
So I also put it up on the Podcaster support group on Facebook, and I would like to thank you guys for sharing. And I'm just gonna read through a couple of them real quick. Nagging and jealousy is a red flag. Gaslighting and emotional manipulation. Talking really bad about their exes. If every single
And for people who don't know, what's gaslighting?
Is that like making you always feel like you're? I always forget these terms. Like, is that making you feel like you're bad all the time? Is that what that is? I'm pretty sure. Hold on. I have to look it up.
I don't think I've ever looked it up, but I saw it in a context. I
What
thought
is
it would mean like
gaslighting?
every time you tell the person something that they get mad, like nothing's ever their fault, and they always kind of like put it back on you. But
I think so. I always forget. I always read it and I'm like, oh, and then I forget what it is. It's manipulation by psychology means questioning their own sanity. I guess it's like always making someone feel like they're crazy. I guess it's like manipulating people to kind of control them. It makes you doubt yourself. Makes you question your own memory. Like if you say, I told you to take out the garbage last night, and he's like, you never told me that. You know, like I would remember if you told me that. You never told me that. And then you sit there and you're like
you
what?
just think you told me that. You probably meant to tell me
right,
that.
and they're
but
making you feel stupid and make you feel
Right.
like you didn't do something. Or I told you we were going to so and so's house tonight. But like we never had that conversation.
Right.
Some people are like, oh, well maybe I forgot. But like if they're like in your ass about it. So talking bad about their exes, they said if every single person they ever dated is a crazy bitch, there's a good chance that they were the problem, and soon they'll be calling you a crazy bitch. Somebody said they spent 10 years in a psychologically abusive relationship where everything was my fault. That's pretty much gaslighting. I spent a decade walking on eggshells and constantly afraid of not doing everything perfectly every time. Now if I even get a whiff of that, I'm gone. Of the controlling behavior, I'm gone. I recently had a theater date with someone 2 days before. They asked if they wanted to grab dinner beforehand. So at so-and-so restaurant, they said they couldn't. I said, fine, I'll meet you at the theater. End of conversation. I showed up at the theater and they had ripped my face off. The person showed up at that restaurant anyway. Meanwhile, I went directly to the show because we had not made plans otherwise. He was furious, implying that I had stood him up. I explained that I can't stand you up for a date that you turned down 2 days ago. He started making a scene, so I did not give him his ticket, which I had paid for. Got security to remove him from the building, gave his ticket away, and had a fabulous night. A few years ago, I would have been beside myself, begging for his forgiveness for something that wasn't even my fault. But no, never, ever, ever again. So bravo to you for standing up for yourself. Asking you not to hang out with friends that you've known for years and never have dated, like because they are because they want to be in a relationship with you. So that's kind of messed up.
Wow.
Bad or no relationship with mother or father. Attitude towards customer service is a big one for me. Dislikes of things for being weird, anger control issues, not being more open side regarding feelings, no hobbies, doesn't read. Listen.
They didn't mean doesn't know how to read, just doesn't chooses
read.
not to, right?
Overt jealousy and controlling tendencies. A person who's not over their ex.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Moving too quickly into things, falling in love too soon. And then some guy wrote, or a lady wrote, so many things. Kai was like asleep before, now he's having like an exorcism. So many things, big romantic gestures, then huge dramatic blow-ups, never letting the small stuff slide. Alcohol and drug abuse, road rage, screaming, yelling fights, roller coaster emotions that make highs seem too great to leave when their lows are lows. On the contrary, a relationship doesn't have to be fiery to be amazing. Constant bickering and sparring seems to be cute in the beginning, but will feel like a war zone year 3. Kindness, calm, not checking other women out in front of you. Using disrespectful language to women in general, these things make life better. Treating a waitress poorly. So there's a bunch here. Playful meanness. Going silent for weeks on end and then realizing that they were upset about something before dumping it back on you. Potential spouse not wanting to contribute to portions of income to family expenses.
Wow.
Me. So what podcast do you listen to? Her. What's a podcast? Me. Walks out the door. That was awesome, Robert. There's a bunch here, and I wish I can like copy them and put them up, but I don't know that I can. Somebody said cats. Having too many red flags. Oh my goodness. What is Kai showing me? What? Guess who doesn't know how to use an iPhone?
Very nice. So now bring it over here.
Kai's watching crazy white kids run through a house. I don't know what that is. So, I mean, there are like a lot of red flags, I guess, that people have, and, you know, obviously, rightfully so. And I think like everyone comes to their breaking point where they're just like, this is not for me. This is not good. Whatever.
Right.
I'm trying to think if there's any. Somebody said it was in one of the articles that we'll post, a dark or secretive past relationship. And the relationship is built on the need to feel needed. People who are like too needy, I guess, is kind of like a red flag. Like,
because are they with you because they want you, or because you're a human body that's
Right.
responding to their needs, their attention?
I kind of thought my niece was gonna like freak out last night. I don't know if motherhood is like calming her down or the fact that maybe she's married now, but like for me, like I don't really know how I would have handled it, and I didn't bug out about it because whatever. But she's married now and she's pregnant, but some girl IM'd her and said, "Oh, I want you to know that your girlfriend is messing with somebody in my family, and I had to tell you because I have so much guilt about it. And, you know, I know you guys are having a kid and stuff like that, but I have to block you now because," and then she mentions, like, this guy's name who's her now wife's ex-boyfriend. And she's like, so-and-so is my boyfriend, and he doesn't want me getting involved in this. And, like, my niece was like, I don't know why somebody would want to do that. Like, and I was like, well, what do you believe? And she was just like, I don't believe it, but, you know, why would somebody do that? Like, why would they want to hurt me? And the problem is that they're both very young and that people are very, like, childish and, like, you know, because my niece's now wife is, like, a new lesbian, I'm sure there might be a guy out there who may be hating on the situation, you know? Because I remember her saying there was, like, a guy in the family who always, like, wanted to still be with her and stuff like that. So, but for me, that would have been, like, a red flag back in the day. Like, when people kind of, like, start infiltrating into your life and, like, telling you stuff, I applaud her for keeping her calm.
Speak to the wife?
She told her, and she just said everything, like, she's like, I don't know who that is. I don't know why they would say that. You know, she's with her legitimately, like, every hour of the day. And they share the same phone, like, you know, it does seem a little far-fetched, like, the way that their relationship is. They're very codependent on each other.
Maybe the person had the wrong person.
I don't know.
Boy, she knew a little bit more about her situation.
Yeah, she knew a lot about the situation.
But this is not things she could know from social media?
Yeah, I think she just kind of, like, you know.
This is things somebody could, like, is there things that are public or Instagram with things she would know?
No, I think it
look
was all stuff that she would have found on social media.
Right, you could look at somebody's page and say, I know you're pregnant,
right,
and
they
you're about
just
to have a
announced
baby.
they're having the baby and stuff like that.
Right, so, this is something that, yeah.
But, yeah, I'm trying to think.
It's not like she knew any, like, intimate, personal things that it's like, wait a minute, this is only something you would know if this person told you or something.
And, like, I know everyone gets mad, but I think, like, I don't know if it was the super ghoster. Like, the first time he got, like, super angry, and it was, like, it all happened, like, within a 24-hour period. Like, I told him, I was like, this isn't really working out. And I was like, I learned with Brooklyn that, you know, if things aren't, like.
And who is this? Your current?
No,
Oh.
the Mr. Narcissism.
Oh, okay.
I was like, things aren't working out, and I learned like in life that if things aren't for me, they're just not for me, and I need to let them go. Because like after Brooklyn, I was kind of just like, I don't want to stay in too many relationships that like don't serve me well. And his relationship with me wasn't serving well, and I tried to break up with him. And the night that I tried to break up with him, he like had like this immense like breakdown, like crying on the floor, like crazy. And I was just like, holy shit. And then the next day he invited me out for lunch and then came and got his stuff and disappeared, which for some reason I was upset about. But I was just like, I wanted to be the one to break up. I didn't like just being done wrong. I think I was like just emotionally drained from that. But like that was a red flag for me. I was like, yo, you might be fucking crazy. I'm not feeling that. I've since removed him from Facebook. I told him he was an asshole. But yeah, I mean, certain things I think like have to kind of pop off at you and be like, oh.
Right. I heard somebody on the radio this morning. She said that she's been with somebody for, I guess, over 16 years. Their oldest kid is 16. And their youngest kid is 12. I missed how many kids she said she had, but the oldest 16, the youngest is 12. And they're still not married. And
Damn.
she has a problem with that because that was their goal, was to be married. That's what they've talked about. And they're still not married. And Charlemagne basically said to her, if you guys are not married after all this time, then obviously you're not the one for him, or else you'd be married.
Right.
So I think that is a red flag. If marriage, it was your original goal. Marriage
right.
is not the goal for everybody.
Everybody, right.
Everybody don't want to be married. We get that. But like if that was something you guys talked about at the beginning of the relationship, and I mean everybody got their own time. It doesn't have to be a specific time. But if that was your goal and 15 years later,
Right.
I mean, what is your cutting off point? I guess that's for certain people.
Right.
Whether it's 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Some people cool with being together 10 years. And
I think if I had a 16-year-old kid and I wasn't married and I was still with that same person,
right,
I'd be like, what the hell is the deal?
Right. And it's like everybody got their own different
Right.
thing. You know what I mean? Like I said, if we make it 5 years, we could talk about marriage.
Right.
You know, like, I mean, we already talked about it. But I
Right.
said, let's make it 5 years before we do it.
Right.
If we could make it 5 years, we probably could make it another 5. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm just saying, that was my theory then, and it's still somewhat my theory.
Right.
Like, I mean, I still want to be married to him, but my thing was, I don't know if I'm as strong about that 5-year thing.
Right.
But that was just
You guys have been together 5 years, right?
this year.
Yeah.
But that was just my, like, a point of reference.
Your son just gave the nod of approval, just so you know.
That was
He's
my
like, yes, I have.
right. That was like my point of like, you just need a point of reference. It doesn't have to be exact down to the day, minute, and
Right.
hour. But that was my point of reference. Like, it's not like I'm saying, all right, it's 5 years now. Where's my ring? No.
Right. No.
But that was my point of reference. Like, all right, we've made it 5 years now. All right.
Right.
What we doing next year? You know, or what we doing 2 years from now?
Right.
But, you know, I'm not just going to sit here for 10 years waiting for you to marry me. Like,
Right.
my point of reference was 5. That means there's not going to be another 5 without,
You gotta get a Pinterest page for like your. I know you're not like a big jewelry person, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, and then, so that was, and then having kids, like, you know, you adding stuff on to married life, but you're not married. And
Right.
some people tend to keep adding things on to it.
I don't think I could buy property with someone I wasn't married to.
No, I wouldn't be too.
I feel like I'd be freaked out about that.
Yeah. But I guess
I
it
don't
would
even know if I'd buy a car with someone I wasn't married to.
Yeah, I guess it would somewhat work the same way. One of us buy the other one out.
Right.
Or we sell it and
That's it.
yeah.
But
I think two people who live, I wrote it as living separate lives together. Living separate lives together. It's like, this is my apartment over here. This is your apartment over there. I go out with my friends. You go out with your friends. I go to my job functions alone. You go to your job functions alone. But we together.
right.
And it's just like, so, like, nah, you go out with your friends. Or your friends. Or those are that's your family. You go to
Right,
your
right.
family house. I go to my family house. You know, you go out with your friends, I go out with my friends. Well, what the hell you together for? That sound like you single.
I forget if I don't know if my friend was recently married. I feel like she said that like on the holidays they go separate places. I'm like, why?
Yeah. Why
Like-
can't you do a little while at one place and a little while at the other place?
Right. Like, I don't know. That would bother me.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, I don't like splitting the holidays. I love being at my family's house on the holidays.
Right.
But like, I wouldn't want to like not have him there though either. Though, you know what I mean?
Right, and
So-
and then the other person want to be with their family for the holidays. So and
Right.
I don't think anybody need to be at nobody's house more than 2 hours on the holiday. To be honest with you, 'cause-
But it would be a red flag for me if he didn't want to come to my family's house on the holiday,
right,
or if I wasn't allowed to go to his family's house.
right, or not even don't want. Sometimes you don't want to go.
Right.
Take your ass anyway. It's
Right.
not gonna kill you.
Right.
Like I believe in like this is a big thing in my relationship is like I don't want you to feel forced to go somewhere or do something you don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of like casual things.
Right.
Or things that's gonna be all the time. Like if I go, I don't know, rollerblading every Saturday morning,
Right.
never gonna happen, probably not. But I just threw that out there. And you don't like rollerblading, I don't expect for you to sacrifice every Saturday morning rollerblading. If you
Right.
don't like it,
Right.
like, but I would like for you to try
Right. Once.
and to see if you like it. And if you don't like, I don't expect you to get up every Saturday morning and do something you hate.
Right.
That's ridiculous. And I don't agree with that. I don't think because you say you love me that you got to do something you hate all the time.
Right.
Now, you may not like bars, but if on occasion a friend of mine has a birthday party or something at a bar, it'd be nice if you came.
Right.
I'm not asking you to come to the bar every Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, every wing night, every this night, every that night. I'm asking you on occasion to accompany me
Who
to
doesn't
a
want to
birthday.
go on wing night though?
Right. But I'm asking you
First
to.
of all, if he doesn't want to go to wing night,
Red
that's
flag.
Gotta go.
But it's like I'm asking you to accompany me occasionally on a birthday party or
Right.
to you don't have to like go all the time, but I think sometimes you can sacrifice things for the other person. Things I don't like. I don't want to go to Costco on goddamn Saturday, but it's Saturday, we all together. You want to stop by Costco? Let's just go. But and it might be one Saturday I'd be like, drop my ass off first. I ain't dealing with it.
Right.
But it's just some things you
Look,
just
I'll be in the home store.
right. You just you do because it's part of building together.
Yeah,
so.
I think if there's someone who's like not compromising and stuff, or who kind of says like, okay, I'm glad you like it that way, but this is what I want. And what about what I want? Like, it has to be somewhere in the middle. And like, I feel like if it's always about like what they want, and you're always like pausing for them, and you're always, just waiting for like this other shoe to drop with them, like that's not a real relationship. And like, I feel like there's certain people who like say like, well, when we get married, it's gonna be better. It's not.
It's
and
not. It's gonna
that's
be
like
the same thing, except you're gonna have legal documents,
right,
to
and it's harder.
sustain
And
you.
then you sit there and you say it's harder to get out of. Like I was talking to like my family today that I work with, and like her husband is just like, she's like, you know what? He goes to work and he comes home and he hangs out downstairs, like with the neighbor, and she's like, I never see him. Like I have to beg him or like kind of threaten him to like come and do stuff with the kids, and like it shouldn't have to be like that, And she's like,
Right.
and then I end up looking crazy because I'm saying I've done this and this with the kids all day. I need a break, and like, but now she's like, she's like, I know, I'm just kind of like afraid to like let go. She's like, I'm like, don't stay together for the kids. Like she knows it's affecting the kids.
Right.
And like to get a divorce is a lot of work. And like a lot of we talked about changing your name. If you change your name already, changing your name back, it's just as hard.
It's just as hard. And anytime you fill out something, but like if you're getting a background check,
Right.
and they ask you, have you ever used any other name? You
Right.
have to put that married name, hyphenated name, whatever name you
Right.
use. You have to make sure you write that on every time somebody asks you, have you ever used any other name?
I think that like if it comes to a point where you're sitting there questioning, like, okay, this is a red flag. Like it's in your heart of hearts, women have women's intuition. It's a men too. Like, listen, if she's like super controlling or super whatever, like too that like
It didn't take you 2-3 years to see that.
right.
And it didn't take till she
look.
broke up with you. Well, now you bad mouthing her, and
If
all
you-
these things is wrong with her.
Right, or if you can't handle that she's super high maintenance, I'm pretty sure you knew that on the first date. Some guys don't like women who take 15 hours to get ready, who put on tons of makeup. Like, I gotta watch Married at First Sight, but there's the one girl, and like she wears a lot of makeup, and she needs to have her hair dyed blonde, and she like puts on all these eyeliners and all this other crap. And I guess he like kind of made a comment to her that her perfume was like a bit much.
Wow.
Like,
let alone the other stuff. The perfume.
He said something like, "Oh, your perfume smells good. It's almost," like he said, "it's almost overpowering." I was like, I feel like you could have just left that part out.
Right.
Like, but like, this is who, in their situation, it's too late. They're married. But like, these are the things. Like, if this is who this woman is when you met her, she's not gonna stop putting on all this makeup.
And who are you to ask her?
Right. But that's the thing. You shouldn't ask her.
Right.
But if it's a problem for you, if you're just like,
you can suggest say something like.
Right.
About it. Like, if you really like the person, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, like, you got to find the best way. But I don't think it's wrong if you say, do you like your makeup? Do you feel like it's a lot, or it kind of looks like a lot? You don't need a lot.
You look really pretty when you're not wearing.
Right, or you don't. I think it's fair to say to somebody, to me, it looks like a lot.
Right.
And you don't need a lot. You're a pretty girl. You don't need a lot. Do you feel like you need a lot? Do you feel like you look very different without it? Yeah. Talk to the person. The other one. Talk to the person. Ask them.
Right.
Do you feel like you need a lot of makeup? How do you feel like you look without it? Or just with less on? Or, like but be honest. Like, I don't feel like you need a lot of makeup. I think you're pretty with less on. Don't say without none, because she's not just gonna go from being. She's not gonna go from being plastered and foundation to wearing none.
Right, but some guys don't like women who wear any makeup. You know what I'm saying? Like, every time I watch TV with my boyfriend, he's like, "Did she have the surgeries? And how much makeup is she wearing?" I'm like, Jesus, like, do you ever? I saw your ex-girlfriend. That bitch wears a lot of makeup. Like, who damaged you? But I'm pretty sure, like, if he met me and I wore like a lot of makeup, if that's something that was going to be a problem for him, like,
it should have been a problem right then and
right. It has to be a problem in the beginning. Don't sit there and keep overlooking things and saying it might change, she might change, he might change. Chances are it's not going to happen. So it's like, people like keep overlooking these red flags, and then they're like, but I want this to work. But you've already named 10 or 15 things about this person that you don't like. So I don't want you to fall. I was trying to help you out, man. But like, you gotta, like, there's gotta be a point where you say, okay, this is too much. Like, I can't do this.
I think it's also a red flag when a man talk bad about his ex, especially a special asterisk on his child's mother.
Oh, absolutely.
If that man,
he's a special asterisk.
If that man sit there and talk bad about the woman that bore his child,
right?
Imagine what you're gonna get when you piss him off or when you break up with him. And I see it at work. There's a guy at work, and he talk about his son mother like a dog, like she a dog in the street. She a hoe. She this. She having a bunch of abortions. She ain't no good mother. But all these things, and I'm saying to myself, but the woman had kids when you met her,
right?
If she wasn't a good mother, you didn't see that when you met her. That she wasn't a good mother. Oh, she's bipolar. You didn't see her bipolar tendencies when you met her. Medication doesn't cure you. Medication doesn't make you 100% perfectly fine. People who are bipolar with medication and without it. Medication can help you control it and manage it, but it doesn't cure it, doesn't make it go away.
Right.
So she bipolar. She has a bunch of abortions. She's not a good mother. The kid's always at a mother house. All these things. And my thing is, like, you didn't see these things when you first met her. Your child wasn't her first child. So you had to see these things when you met her. So, and I also think when exes are too involved.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Or people too involved with their children's mother. Like, somebody close to me started dating somebody. The children's mother car was in his name. He was paying the payment.
Wow.
He had either in his name or had co-signed. If she was late on the payment, he would pay it, and the excuse was, "Well, I'm the co-signer, my credit, blah blah blah." Every time she called, he run. It was just little. It was too much. It was too much. Like, those are your kids. Pay your child support. Go be involved with your kids. Of course, you have to talk to this person about, parent-teacher conference.
Good job.
Of course, you got to talk to this person about parent-teacher conferences, homework, grades, all the things that involve these children. Car notes, car payments, and co-signing shouldn't be going on. Boundaries.
So there's an article that I'm going to post from the Huffington Post, and the lady goes, I don't know if she was like a wedding planner. I didn't read the top part of the thing. But she goes through all these terrible stories that happen like right before people get married. And in the end it says, so here's the deal, engaged couples. You're going to marry the same person who you are living with or consorting heavenly with right now. He or she is not going to change dramatically when you get married unless you count the unfortunate dramatic increase of release of bodily emissions. If he is verbally or physically abusive pre-wedding, he is going to hit you eventually. If she is sucking down Pinot Grigio to chase her Xanax and Adderall combo, chances are you'll be picking up those prescriptions for her in the near future, not to mention opening or hiding the wine bottles eventually. Moral of the story, you're not going to change your spouse after you marry them. That wasn't part of the deal, good or bad. We all have faults. Bill sleeps too much. I never shut up. I leave my shoes all over the house, a trip hazard according to my husband. It's the serious character flaws you have to consider before you say I do. If there's something so bad you can't imagine living with it in 10 years, rethink this commitment before you make it. And then there's more, but I'm not reading more. But I think that's the fact. I think, like, if you see these red flags, like, you really have to say, like, the question is, can I do this the rest of my life? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is yes, fine. Mm-hmm.
Are these things that are just manageable? That's not that big of a deal.
I know the toilet seat's going to be up. Mm-hmm. I know I'm going to find socks in the living room. I know that there's going to be cups around the house.
And it's not that you're okay with it or you won't try to make improvements on it, but it's not something that's
it's not the end of the world.
That's going to stress you out and have you going crazy. Yeah.
But if those cups were flying in the house out of anger and shit like that, then I'd be like, I ain't doing this the rest of my life.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Red flag. There's the door. See you later. Or if, like, I've been in relationships where it's like, dude's missing for like 15 hours. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. Where are you? Can't get you on the phone.
You haven't called and said nothing. Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing that. I don't want to be in that kind of relationship. Like, I also don't like the silent treatment. That's a big thing for me. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't really like when people hang up, but I do it sometimes. Like, if I'm mad, but then I call back like, damn, I shouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. But, like, if you ignore me, I don't like that.
Right.
Like, for me,
if you're giving somebody the silent treatment, you don't know how to communicate.
Yeah, if we're in our 40s and you can't pick up the phone to have a communication, you could say, I don't want to discuss this right now. I need to chill out. When I'm done, we'll talk about it. Fine, communicate that to me. But if you're gonna give me the silent treatment, I don't want to be with you. I don't. I don't want to have this conversation in 20 years from now. Because
you don't want to talk, but nor are you trying to find a way to talk or a way to calm the situation. Like you said, let me just calm down before, because I'm angry. I don't want to say nothing out of anger. Let me just calm down for a minute.
Right.
Center myself. I'll come back. If you can't say that, you immature and you don't know how to communicate, and you don't need to be in a relationship until you learn better. So I think another one is seeking attention from outside the relationship.
Yeah.
And with other people, from other people. Men from other women, women from other men, or women and men from anybody.
Right.
Just seeking outside attention. Like, to me, if you still seeking attention from outside, somehow, some way, I'm not enough for you, or you're not enough. You don't feel like you're enough.
No one will ever be enough.
Right. Nothing is enough. Right. You're not enough. I'm not enough for you. Like, and you need that to validate you, outside attention. And it's not good. Yeah. Or you listen to too much advice from other people that's not in this relationship. I live with you. I'm dealing with you. So
talk to me.
Yeah, you need to talk to me to know what I think. Now, there's nothing wrong with asking your friends and relatives and whatever for advice, siblings, whoever. But, it shouldn't feel like the person is in the relationship with you.
Right.
That's another thing. There's an article here. Brene Brown, brilliant woman. Mm-hmm. She studies. Had a little bio on her. She's a PhD. She studies. I want to say University of Houston. I think it said. She's in the social work department.
Right.
She became famous because of her study on vulnerability. That's how she wrote her book Daring Greatly. She wrote a couple other books, and she ended up, in Oprah magazine, on Oprah show. You know what happens after you talk to Oprah? You good for the rest of your life, probably. But I just like how she talks. She like real. I just really like her, and I need to read the book. But I thought it was interesting. She put here, I was once asked whether you can love your partner and still cheat on him or her. Reflecting on my research, I concluded that though you may feel love, you're not practicing love. When you betray someone, and that is what's important. You're not practicing love when you betray someone, and that's what's important. Professing love is easy. Practicing love takes courage. She said, I believe that love is not something we give, it's something we cultivate by allowing our most vulnerable and powerful selves to be seen and honoring the spiritual connection that grows from that offering with trust, respect, and affection. Love requires tenacity and grit. It's work. It makes sense that we have to invest a lot of time, effort, and some serious self-reflection into them. We get so much from our most important relationships. It makes sense that we have to invest a lot of time and effort. She said, ask for what you need from the person. She said, sometimes when I'm anxious and tired, I get blamey and critical. But now when I'm stressed, I try to say to my husband, I need some extra sleep. Can you tuck the kids in tonight? She says, say you're sorry. Shame, disrespect, betrayal, and the withholding of affection poison the groundwater from which love grows. So we've acted in ways that don't reflect the love we feel. We need to own it, apologize, and listen to how our actions affected others. Making amends is an important way to practice love. That's like no silent treatment.
Right.
Say what the problem was.
Right.
Or if you know you was the problem, just go ahead and apologize. Sometimes
Right.
people being silent because they know they was wrong,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't want to apologize, so they don't say nothing.
That's terrible.
Yeah. And so I think she when she said practicing love, I've heard a lot of men say like, I cheated and it wasn't her fault. It had nothing to do with my wife or my girlfriend.
And
like, cause women start blaming themselves.
Right.
What did I do? What don't you see in me anymore? Why are you not attracted to me? Why are you attracted to this other person? And I can see what she means by, it's not that you don't love that person, but you not practicing love at that time.
Right.
When you feel disconnected from them, or you feel like you somewhere else in life and they somewhere else, so you guys are not communicating, you guys are not practicing loving each other. You stop, basically.
Right.
Not stop loving each other, you stop doing the work that it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that before, like, one red flag is when somebody is saying something and not doing it.
Right.
Like when she says, professing love is easy. Practicing it takes courage. You can tell me all day you love me.
Right.
But
Show
if
me.
you don't do anything at all
Your actions.
that says this, that's a red flag.
Right.
Like, you're going to marry somebody because they say they love you but don't do anything that indicates that they love you? Like, I mean, that's a big red flag.
Yeah.
I think also when something happens, if the person is not there for you when you need them the most,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even, it wouldn't even be no like grace period. Just walk the fuck off right in the middle of the mall, right at the goddamn Wendy's. Right? Like, soon as the car pull up, just walk off and lock the door, go in the house.
Right.
I'm sorry, I forgot to tell you. Don't ever fucking call me again and lock the goddamn door. Because when somebody not there for you when you need them the most, that is all you need to see. I don't see how you need to see anything else.
Right.
Like, if there's a death in your family, or you're sick, or you have some kind of medical emergency, or like, even if you need $50,
Right.
like, or $20, you can't loan me $20. Like, especially if, not that if the person clearly doesn't have it, or a certain situation they're in, but if the person clearly has it.
Right.
Like, what if you dating somebody goddamn well they got $20 and they just don't want to give it to you?
That's crazy.
I ran out of gas on the Parkway. Can you bring me $20 worth of gas? Like, I mean, that kind of situation. Like, not somebody giving you money they don't have.
Right.
But like an emergency situation. Like, that's crazy. If that, or if like anytime you need somebody to talk to, you can't call that person. I think too, it's a big red flag when somebody doesn't tell you the truth.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. No, you were absolutely right. No, you weren't wrong in anything. You cursed your mother out. No, you should. You had the right. Like, come on.
Yeah, I told my roommate, like, he was on the phone with his mom one day, and he was like, "Shut the fuck up." I don't even know what he was saying, but he said something crazy harsh, and I was like, "Yo," I was like, "Who were you talking to? Your mother?" And I said, "Yo," and I was like, "Were you talking to your mother like that?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Yo, that's why you don't have a girlfriend."
Red flag.
Do not, if a woman ever heard you say that. I'm really surprised my cousin never got married, because he used to be terrible than my aunt. Like,
that's a red flag. If a man treat his mother like that carried him in her womb and gave birth to him.
Yeah.
Who are you?
I don't care how annoying your mom is.
Right.
I don't care.
Just like, all right, Mom. All right, Mom, let me go. Let me go. You know what I mean? But the person you don't have respect for the person that gave birth to you. Who is anybody else?
Right.
Who are you? Like, seriously, who are you? Absolutely. I mean, I know, like, after we were together, after me and John were together for, wasn't very long, maybe, I want to say I met him, and 5 months later, my sister passed away, and he was around, and he left work early, called out of work, and did all those things. I was like,
please take care of my friend. He's like, I will.
But it was early on, and came up to the it's not easy. Come up to the hospital,
right?
And right afterwards, and the family is there. Everybody's upset, and for you to like take that on, because I mean, I actually thought about it. I don't know if he'd have told me one of his family. I mean, I might have went on and pushed through it,
right?
But I really would have had to push through, like going up to the hospital, standing there, watching it. Everybody praying around the body and. I would have been like, oh my God, I don't want to do this.
Your mom was like running around like, this is my son-in-law.
Yeah, like 4 months later.
I was like.
4 months in. I'm like, what?
She's like, this is my son-in-law. I was like, just because April kept someone along longer than 5 weeks.
Right, without shooing them out the door.
I was like, I'm just as shocked as you are, but I was like, he must have like something good going on, because
I shoo you out of my door in a minute. Go on.
Yeah, as soon as April saw a pink flag, she'd be like, nope, bye.
And not Victoria's Secret pink either.
She said, bye.
Not even that bright pink.
No.
But yeah, I mean, to be like, I always I held on to that. You know, like, I mean, that's not, you got to do more than that, but that was really important to me. I'm like,
definitely.
I could lean on this person if something happens. I could, I felt like I could depend on him. So it's definitely, I know some people who these people don't come around, yo. They call them, leave them voice messages. This one died. This happened. That happened. I was in a car accident, and the person called 3, 4, 5 days later. Are you all right?
That's what I told my boyfriend. I was like, listen, I know my relationship with my ex-boyfriend makes you uncomfortable. I was like, but he was my friend ever before he was my boyfriend. I was like, my boyfriend left me in the hospital at night. And, like, he came to see me that night. Like, he was like, yo, you're there by yourself? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I can't stay there. He's like, but I'll stay till they kick me out. And he wasn't my boyfriend. He didn't owe anything to me. He came and he sat with me, and that meant a lot to me. Like, so.
It showed compassion.
Right. Like, and my own boyfriend was just like, gotta go home. And even like the day I came home from the hospital, I was like, I'm really afraid to be here by myself. And he was just like, I can't stay with you. I'm like, you live down the street.
Right.
You don't have a dog. You don't have like, he had kids, but they weren't with him. Like, you don't have any responsibilities. You can't stay at my house.
And here's
it's not
the thing.
Ramadan. Like, I don't get it.
And here's the thing. These situations are not easy, and funerals are not easy. It's not easy for anybody.
No.
Not an excuse.
No.
It's not hospitals, death, these things, sickness. It's not easy for anybody.
Oh my God.
Nobody handles it well.
My boyfriend broke down in the vet's office. Because as soon as they told me that, I'm like, do I have to put her down? And then he was like, yo, I need you to just help a brother out. He's like, I'm trying to keep it together. And then all of a sudden, I saw him like run away, and he like broke down. I was like, the fuck just happened? But like he's been great with everything. But like I'm like, yo, at least I know I can count on him. Like, you know what I mean? Like
right.
that
You were
would
there
bother-
with me in the
Right.
vet's office, and I mean, it shows too. I mean, somebody standing there got compassion for even an animal.
Right.
He could have been like, "Get the fuck over it. It's
Right.
a dog."
It's a dog.
Right. You know, and he didn't look at it that way. I mean, there's compassion there to
Right.
be. And you know, like people, I know people who call people for help. They ain't there for them and all that stuff. And I'm like, what more do you need to know?
Right. Yeah. So, I mean,
Okay, I'll take you. Yeah, it's like what more do you need to know?
but I mean, so I mean, I think that's pretty much it, though. I think we're pretty much
Right.
good with the red flags.
If
I
you
mean-
see these things, don't ignore them. Seriously, don't ignore these things. You need to, you know, deep down inside that these things are
Right.
red flags. You know, deep down inside you really don't want to deal with that. Then just don't deal with it. It's other people out there for you.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this topic. And if you have any other topics you want us to explore, you have any questions you want us to ask, you can write to us at bedlabeyond@gmail.com. And you know the number, April knows number 201-862-BED. And we are now on Spotify, Podbean, iTunes, Pocket Cast, Stitcher, Google Play Podcast. And we're at bedlabeyond@gmail if you want to write to us. And anywhere else. And April's at Miss April Speaks on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And you can find her and see all the cool stuff she's posting. And we will join you next week. And I think that's it.
Peace.
Peace.